Hello boys and girls, it's me, Yoshi, welcoming you back to my 100% playthrough of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for Nintendo Switch, where in the last video we left off finally leaving the free scenarios and making it to the epilogue section. I guess I should say these are each based off of different setups, but yeah, we made it to the epilogue section. In the last video we did the Sacred Sword and the War of Spirit. Two of the longest missions in the whole game, which means most of the problematic stuff is out of the way. Did that all on Hero difficulty because we need that for a medal achievement and to get all the medals for one of the 100% stuff. But that's the only thing we have left, since in one of the previous series of videos we finally finished off doing challenge mode with every character with an A rank. Be sure to check out those videos if you haven't seen them yet. But now we get to do Legend Mode, the most interesting part of the game. Now this one I somewhat remember, but only slightly. This one you kind of wanted to like do a split take, sort of. I believe usually the way I would like to do this is, due to specific mechanics, Twilight Midna should go to the right here. I assume I did that correctly. And Linkle should go to the other side, and we basically just start time at first, just taking keeps. This is literally taking keeps to melee, which we haven't seen in a while. We've actually been ignoring taking on the keeps. Safety strategy you can also do on top of that, just the keeps, but without Magic Fountain Plus, I find the game to be a little bit long, so now we're just focusing on our objectives. I think initially I did not know what to do here, because remember, some of these missions I've done for the first time in a very long time, and it gets very hard to remember what exactly to do. But now I've kind of figured out what to do now, and basically we have to get Twilight Midna to eventually arrive at the palace itself. There we go. That should be that part done. So yeah, most of this first part is literally just take all the keeps. For some reason these Fire captains are already sunned in, by the way. There, I guess we'll take them out right away. Skips the objective appearing at least. Good. Cuts that objective short a bit early. But other than that, yeah, not much to say. Literally, it's just clear all of the keeps, mostly. It's the only way you can really save any time here. Because there's an objective, I believe, that requires us to do this. So we're doing all the keeps right now. Dealing with the uppermost ones, because they're a bit farther out of the way first. Then we just have to defeat the enemy in front of the base and open it. Oh yeah, if you take too long, then they'll start summoning monsters. Not like the other characters we've been using so far. It's actually one of the stronger secondary characters. We've used her quite a bit, so we're gonna use her for quite a bit. Alright, we've gotten all the keeps down. That starts the air boss from summoning, and eventually we'll be able to take out the stamp tent here. The main strategy of Menda mostly just revolves around getting her AoE up as soon as possible, which is her standard special bar actually, and then just using that over and over again. There is a few enemies that also take on the base. We already took out the keep. Nah, it's fine. We're gonna have to knock him out anyway. So why not? Go. That should get that part out of the way. Oh yeah, alright. I forgot, the mission's basically over at this point. This whole thing we were doing for delay, that was just a delay for the fight with Dark Twilight Minda. Now we just fight her instead. Oh yeah, that's right, also. We had to do this so fast because Zelda is still here. I forgot Zelda appears briefly. We have to rest here. Oh, there's this as well. There we go. I know there's this whole other mission with messengers and other stuff, and it's like, you don't need to do that. You could just take out Twilight Minda in the battle. I think this is how you're intended to weaken the Gatekeeper. Because first you take the enemy keeps, then you have to do something else, and then the Gatekeeper weakens. But we don't need to do that. We're just doing this instead. So yeah, this actually ends up being one of the faster missions. It only felt slower at first because I forgot that you had to take all the keeps in the Palace of Twilight, but we did that, so... Yeah, I was literally just waiting for the missions to catch up and also defeating the Gatekeeper within that time, which we still did, even on hero difficulty. Alright. Done with that. The only cutscene we'll show, by the way, at the end is the last one. The very last cutscene, which I think is fitting to end this playthrough on. Alright, now we need to go to Darkness Falls next. Oh, and just so in case anybody is wondering, we'll be doing
and his allies had defeated
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity next, and I guess since people like it, I might choose to do the new Hyrule Warriors first while we're still on this Hyrule Warriors thing. I feel like more people might want to see that than Breath of the Wild. Actually, that actually gives me an idea. After Age of Calamity, which I just want to know, what playthrough do you want to actually see me do, folks? Do you want to see me do Breath of the Wild? Would you rather see me do Breath of the Wild, or would you rather see me do the new Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment instead? Because I think, looking at it now, I think Age of Imprisonment is right before Ganon gets in prison. Oh, that's right, I forgot, I'm playing Sia. Also forgot that this is hero mode, so this is gonna be a lot more tankier to deal with. Help if Goma can at least do some hacking. I don't want you to just stand there and do nothing. Oh my gosh, I'm right here, Goma. Stop being an idiot. I might lose a keep right away, almost, if we can't just immediately defeat this god. That probably works just as good, honestly, since we don't have a central. Alright, Goma 1 has been defeated. This first battle is quite interesting, I like it at first. It's literally just laying keeps for a little while. Most of this part is literally just focused on defeating the Gomas. And then Manhandle shows up to cause even more chaos. I think that's enough to take him out this time. Let's hope so. Okay, not quite. I saw that there's a little bit of HP that's left this time. My idea is attack a bit, get a special. Oh, okay, never mind. I did not need that. It's close enough that we can just outright defeat Goma first. But yeah, the first part is best described as you basically just tackle the giant bosses and win. It's basically in our classic defeat the giant bosses to win basically mission. Again. Oh, and also randomly for no reason, Hyrule betrays you. Yeah, I almost forgot. This is another mission where Hyrule decides to turn traitor on top of that. And this happens while... Alright. Although this setup proves that Hyrule is just a normal opponent setup, or what I mean by opponent, I mean by trying to get my special built up. Right now it's being kind of tricky. I also keep forgetting to do that darkness Magnesia. Let's actually do that now. Yeah, why not? See what this does. Someone said it like increases your damage of attacks, I believe. Adds like time effect. Okay, we're just gonna do this. We only really need to defeat Hyrule to win this part of the mission, but it can get a little tedious considering that our foe Hyrule is at first. So at first you usually want to defeat the big foes with him first. Okay, we're currently on a high damage setup. What I mean by that is normally we have knockback protection, but because we took so many hits recently, we are getting knocked back by every attack instead. Ugh. Hey, no thank you. You don't get to be mean, right? Hey. That's what you should be worried about, honestly. Take this keep while we're at it. Right, now we just need to... go back here. To deal with all these super powered heads. I like how either one or the other can be defeated and then it underpowers the rest of the enemies. We get a little bit of time to play around with, so we're gonna make sure we protect our base here. What are those other enemies, by the way? I think we've been mostly ignoring them for the most part. Oh yeah, right. We do have that barrier of darkness that does get erected in the enemy's base. This is probably gonna even with our health. Might be easier to actually just let it on purpose. Yeah, I honestly don't see why I shouldn't just let it die, and then we can just take it back immediately. Since we cannot get spat by, I swear, we should just let the keep fall instead. Then we can take it right back afterwards. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, that's right, there's assault troopers. Okay, that seems important enough that we should take them out. Hut troopers are the worst. They usually do the most damage to your feet, and they're almost always designed to hurt you. There we go. So we let that fall on purpose so we could quickly go back and get it. Now we'll just backwards it up a bit after we take out these assault troopers. We need to do a few things anyways before we can go to the Barrier of Darkness. Okay. Now we'll just take this back. Oh yeah, I forgot, we have Dark Lanes here. Because we're still finding off that other part. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. A little bit late, but I made this work. Okay. Keep going. I think I'll vote now decides to come. No. Yeah, I forgot these start units is free. Okay, as a backup, we might have Volga guard Lana if we need to, but I don't think we need to. The goal is to just defeat Ganondorf, but you typically need to get rid of his barrier first. But we also have a bunch of healing, some other stuff, and some other shenanigans we can deal with, so... Instead, we're gonna do a little bit of a classic cheat that you probably remember. So, first, we're gonna... You actually have a couple of ways of doing this, by the way. You can just attack Ganondorf from outside the keep, potentially, depending on the position. Or alternatively, the safer and probably more normal strategy instead is to quickly... There's actually quite a few ways you can do this. You can heal spam through some of the damage, you can try and do other saps, but the best strategy is to keep using that rank melee I see me use over and over again. You want to basically do that, and then you can basically just kick Ganondorf out of his own base and defeat him that way. It's a popular strategy you can use on a lot of bosses, but it's best used against Ganondorf because otherwise you would have to deal with constant damage. So instead we just do that, and yeah, this skips a whole escort mission, which is normally very tedious. Watch the initial playthrough to see how that actually plays out, because normally you have to take her all the way to the end, and then the Barrier of Darkness is removed and you can more safely defeat Ganondorf, with the help of Lana as well. There we go. Alright. Now we get to the moment just before Sia needs to be defeated. This part now leads into the epilogue. Alright. Normally this storyline doesn't spawn in until after you've defeated the main storyline first, so it can take a while to do it first, but thankfully you usually get teleported to whichever mission you end up doing, so you can kind of focus on the storylines one at a time. But anyway, that's actually Sia's tales done, and the only thing left for Minkle is that one mission when we're here. So now we finish off the epilogue with Shining Spirit. Fun fact, I think I should have mentioned, in the casual playthrough back that I did on the Wii U version of this game, this is where I lost the first time. It was really awkward. Or at least this was the first time I saw my brother lose a mission over and over again. it's quite tedious, and it can be quite awkward to do at times. Otherwise, this is another mission where we want to use Link with the Master Sword. But there's different priorities for what we need to do. The tricky part about this mission is tons of Dark Forces just keep improving their morale. And morale is really important in this game. So whenever they have that, it's really bad. Right now, though, we're trying to focus on the Sanctums, which are just various things we have to protect over the course of the area. I was gonna initially do this a different way, but now I'm gonna try and segment this slightly different. Well, actually, in fact, we'll have Lana go down to where the South Sanctum is. Says that it's not there. I don't see a marker there. Yeah, we can do other stuff. There we go. We need to start by capturing these first two Sanctums right away. And I think from here, Durinia guards Zelda for a bit, but we'll have to manually control him eventually because we're gonna need to protect her later. And now we control Mana manually to go over here. Most of this at first is just defeating a couple of captains to make sure your hunters are protected. You don't have to defeat them all, but you do want to defeat some of them. The main focus should be protecting Zelda and getting the first two Sanctums done. Once those are done and you head over here, the third Sanctum will appear automatically. It has to be done in this order. If you try to go too early, so, yeah, once you do that, the last Sanctum will appear automatically, and we're just gonna manually move Mana back to where we need there to be. Now a lot of it is just waiting for the enemies to come over. Oh, here we go. Now this is the tricky part. Sia just summons a whole bunch of forces now. We have to make sure we don't defeat all of them too early, because some of them we have to actually get to the circle. If we don't do that, the objective fails and Dark Forces will actually improve their morale instead. Of course, that doesn't mean we can't just skip them all either. There's a sick way you have to do this now. From here, I'm gonna try to change up the setup. Lana will now protect Zelda instead. I'll change Darunia to have them eventually go to this middle section over here. But for now, we're gonna manually control them, because now we need to do a couple of things. The main objective is the one we want to prioritize first, though, which is the Sword Zelda Fairy Fountain. Because I don't have time to do that, I basically did that by defeating some of our enemies. And then by going up to these specific areas, we can discover these other enemies, and then they will begin advancing. And our goal is to get both of them to eventually come over. You have to wait until it begins advancing, or else they won't appear here. And you want to have some guys in the middle, because if you wait too long, especially on the harder difficulties, it gets really tricky. I just realized something. Looking at it now, there's now a clear circle area on the right. I believe that's where the magic circle is gonna hit normally. Alright, now I think that's more than enough. Now we just need to do this with Dynafloss, and then from there, a lot of it is just waiting. Okay, there we go. Took a while to get that to... This is where I expect the opponents to get soon. Okay, see, this enemy I probably should have taken out. Whatever. Okay, maybe I can make it to that one. From here, a lot of this is just focus on not taking out the troops, because they're gonna be taken out anyways by the magic circle. Oh, great. The Sanctum's also fallen too, now on top of that. No, you don't get back in over here. Okay, I think to set this up properly, I'll have you activate the circle, but have do the other stuff. Now we're just waiting for this to appear. Sometimes it takes a bit. Now it says you successfully learned. I had to wait until that box to do that. Just makes it easier. Now this next part could be a bit tedious depending on the set, because we are actually taking quite a bit of damage. It is like super powered right now. But there's a strategy where, whoa, okay. I'm gonna try to avoid him for a bit. Dude, that took forever to activate. Finally, Voka got weakened. So this is a little bit more dangerous than usual. Good. It's a little bit more scary than usual. It just proves that even on level 255, Voka still does a lot of damage, but thanks to the health weakening, we can still take him out pretty fast. Okay, from here, most of the last of the mission is pretty straightforward, actually. It's mostly about protecting Sia. You don't even need to keep the Sanctums anymore. We just needed them for the intro part. Because otherwise we might have to capture them again, but once Voka loses, then it's simple. And now we just go for Sia. Alright. now we get to fight the multiple Sias. Aiko, just for this mission, Sia does not automatically doesn't have a mask on, so we see a bit of her here. Looks like we're focusing on this Sia for a bit. So yeah, the mission's pretty simple from here. We pretty much are just gonna defeat all the Sias quickly. Since we were good at the mission before, the Dark Forces have actually suffered a loss of morale. They would actually improve their morale even further if you failed the mission, and it leads to even more failures, because then it also happens to Volga as well. Although Volga still stays strong no matter what, the morale improvement does make him do even more damage, so it gets ridiculous to the point where he would just one-shot you. At that point, you're gonna mostly have to just avoid attacks until Volga pushes the dark power from himself. That's why you can't just use the circle right away. There is a circle skip you can do, but because Volga is so hard to defeat already, the speedrun goes for an optimal alternate strategy where you basically want to take out Sia right away. If you choose to activate the match circle right away, sure, you'll get the effect done, but then the Dark Fortress will improve their morale, and any percent, that would mean that even on easy mode, Lola will just straight up destroy you. So you do not want to ever do that. Yeah. Meanwhile, our troops are still dying around while we're trying to take out Sia right now. The only thing that would change if we had Extreme Crush would be we just use Extreme Crush attack, and we would also use one magic fountain. Weaken all the Seers so they take a bit more damage and then attack. You could also do that for Volga as well if you want. You get so much time. Alright, Epilogue is now finished officially. I was gonna call each of these sections of different sections before I looked at this app, but there's like a chapter thing that it tells you about. So that's what we're looking at right now. And so yeah, we just finished the epilogue section, which is the third main section of the game. Now we have the Ganondorf section, happily named. I like it. Which is just 3 missions long, pretty quick. Only be able to do 1 right now, and there'll still be a few more missions to do after this, but we're getting closer.
Returning peace to Hyrule. But
if we get close enough to our final thing... Okay. Now we get to do a couple wandering around at first. This first mission is fairly straightforward. The only way you can actually lose it is if any of your opponents die, your friends rather, your acquaintances die. So yeah, this first part is fairly simple. First, Ganondorf, we're pretty much going to be spamming this combo over and over again, and occasionally, when we can, using our standard special to get a lot of damage on them quickly. Otherwise, the first part is mostly just taking the keeps again. 1.1. By 1.1, I mean by like, we've done this before in a previous video on previous version. Now we're doing the same thing, but with Ganondorf on this mission, basically. Still work. Remember, this is Hero mode. That move does not one-shot this levels. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. This final part could get interesting, I will say, because there is a giant boss section you have to do midway for this, and from here, this part could get a little tricky if you don't do it right. Alright. I know we could choose not to defeat these, but I find it easier to just do it anyway. Alright, now back to taking the keeps exclusively for a bit. Now we can capture the keeps within the settlement to actually start gaining stuff. Oh yeah, that's right, we can do that big hand AoE as well, which is really good for certain sections. Alright, before I finish this, we want to get this done. Before we do this, we want Ganondorf to be around here. So we'll move him to here while we then use our Girium and Zant to, if we set up properly, to defeat the prison guards. I know we skipped using a couple of characters, but that was mostly because they were really weak and really bad. But this time around, there's actually some objectives we can focus on. I just realized the start rate could be to use Girium. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think I actually want to be up here. I think Ganondorf needs to be up top instead. Anyways, we want to get rid of these prison guards now. Alright. Alright, now we just wait. Honestly, there's not much to talk about this mission other than that, yeah, it's literally just following what the game tells you to do, except after this middle part, where we tackle that one keep to get into the Arbiter grounds, and then capture and defeat the enemies in this build keep to complete the original intended objective for victory. And once that's done, we basically go down here as the monster forces begin a big attack. But because there are no to deal with, we don't care. This is just the first part instead. Now we are gonna defeat the giant bosses as they appear. Okay. I know that there's these keeps you're supposed to protect and some enemies you're supposed to fake, but we just skip all that. We almost missed that. I will say this part could get a little tricky depending on the segment, because normally you can just defeat the other opponents fast, but there's also a couple of others that appear midway there. I'm gonna try and make this go faster by doing the trick. So yes, in case you haven't noticed, we can do the same cheat trick we did with the other bosses. We can knock one down, have one get back up. As they get back up, if you change to a different character, they'll just go to the right side. This part gets a bit tricky though, because again, on Hero mode, we don't really one-shot these enemies, even though we are technically just I don't really have a good combo for Girium, so my best combo is to just do that over and over again. We can do this trick on every boss, by the way, including on Goma, so we'll switch second time to cause Goma to do something else. Okay, apparently Goma is playing nice today. So, this part can get a bit tricky on Hero mode if you don't have Girium defeating this boss for you. Because Goma tries to go to Manandala first, so you want to take out Goma first in this scenario. If you don't do that, then it can get a little tricky. Where did Ganondorf go? I need him to be next to your enemy. A Dart Nuts are gonna take it out because I have to walk all the way over to save them. This is ridiculous. Manhandla. Strong one. Okay, now we're finally done. Finally here. My initial plan was to just get them to Adlab. I forgot that I set up that thing with Ganondorf. Probably should have commanded him to do something about that. Gets up a little faster than usual, so we'll probably try and do this. Yeah, other than that, this battle is best described as the other battle where you just defeat all the bosses, but with a little twist. You don't Goma first and you let them just hang around. Goma will come with Manandala and they'll actually give themselves a morale boost. which, similar to the Volga thing, pretty much acts as a one-shot mechanic. So you cannot let them do that at all. So instead, you want to defeat Goma first, and Manhandla, you send towards Manhandla to make this easier. In the original game, though, this would be even more frustrating. In the original game, of course, it has that particular cheat. Because you can only play with one character in that game ever. So unless you have a co-op partner, you'll have to manually go over to Goma first, defeat him, and that leaves Manhandla alone, and then you have to worry about your captains potentially dying, because they're... As Girium and Zamp become captains, you have to say... Alright, Valley of Seers is next, and we're gonna end with this. Because, yeah, it's that time again. It's that time to end the episode time once again. I'll see you guys in the next video where we continue on to Ganondorf March of the Demon King. In Legend mode. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.